Why do I love Hera Syndulla so much? I mean, look at her. Look at her. She's so cool. So awesome. She's brave and beautiful and bold. She's feisty. She's an amazing pilot, a mother, a rebel. She's everything that I want to be. Hera Syndulla. Welcome to my Hera Syndulla cosplay video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every single component of my Hera costume and kind of explain how I made it, how I put it together, the different versions. I've spent a lot of time and love on this costume and just absolutely love to share that with you. For any of you guys wanting to do a Hera cosplay, there's an amazing Facebook group that has been kind of my support network. Great bunch of girls who absolutely love Hera, and we're all really awesome at helping each other out and giving tips. So some of these tips are not mine. They come from a fantastic group of other Hera cosplayers. So big shout out to them. Thank you guys so much for helping me. So first of all, I suppose I'll start with my pride and joy, which is the leku. So I made these leku. A bit of a story. We started off, I started off with the leku were a pair of tights. So my first ever pair, they were, just seriously a pair of, like tights that I wore on my head, painted green. They were very simple. They did the job. They weren't the right shape, so it didn't have this nice sticky out bit. They weren't the right colour. So I've gone through lots of versions of these. And if you wanted to know more about how I make latex leku, check out my Ahsoka videos. I'm kind of going through the full process of how I make these latex leku. Some other girls use Pant's leku, the silicone ones, which look amazing. In New Zealand, it just wasn't realistic. It was going to be, 200 or 300 New Zealand, plus shipping as well. So I thought, they are awesome leku, but I'll have a go at making my own first. And because that was a huge success, I've decided to keep going with making my own. Simply because I live so far away from everything. So yes, love my leku. I painted the kind of symbols on. So that's what the symbols look like. It's kind of 3 circle designs there. Because I know it's really difficult to find good pictures of what these look like. So I'll give you guys a really good look at the details. The other reason why I really like my latex leku is they kind of have a roughness to them that the silicone doesn't. I'm not sure if you can see, but like the colour is not completely even, the texture's not completely smooth, which is really good because neither is my skin. My skin has pimples and freckles and rough bits, so, and when I'm doing the face paint I never get the colour completely perfect, so I feel like we match. My leku match my skin, so it's perfect that they are not perfect, because neither am I. The headpiece, this was really difficult, and I would say I'm a moderate sewer. I'm not really advanced, I suppose intermediate. I'm an intermediate sewer, so I kind of know the basics of sewing, but I found these really difficult. So like I said, there are some great girls out there that make these. If you're not confident with sewing, I recommend getting someone to make it for you, because it drove me nuts. But yeah, you really need to have your leku or an accurate mold before you make this. Really big components. They help with the structure of the leku. Mine actually help keep it on my head, so if you don't have a good kind of flight cap, the leku are going to slide off and not stay in place. So this is a really important structural component, and I leave it on my leku all the time. It never comes off, so really important to get this right. If it's not, your leku will sit incorrectly. I also have a bit of elastic on this white, so attached to this white flight cap is elastic that can't be removed. It's it's on there, and that's just a chin strap that goes under. Yeah, another bit. So that is the basic. I'll take them off. That is the basic leku. I'll show you the inside. I've got toy filler, so I just buy this from a local like emporium or fabric shop or wherever you can get craft supplies. I'll just kind of show you what the leku look like. So like I said, it's kind of the consistency of a swim cap, quite stretchy. With the latex, so downsides of latex versus silicone is latex does deteriorate over time. So you can kind of see the original colour of the leku was kind of it's more yellowy, and as oh, that's a really good patch there, I've had to put another layer on because they started deteriorating, and they just start disintegrating. So you just get holes and gaps in them, and luckily I just put more liquid latex over the top. I've got really good models as well, so I could make another set if I wanted to. But downsides of using latex versus silicone. So if you are wanting a cosplay for, I don't know, a couple years, latex is awesome. If you want a set of leku that's going to last a lifetime, go with silicone. So yeah, just plus upsides and downsides. Another really cool component, I got these, so shout out to Hyperspace props. So they do amazing kind of Hera goggles, so season 1 and 2, and also these are the 3 and 4 ones. They are just amazing. I can't speak highly enough of how cool these are. Initially I had an old set that I made myself out of foam, and they were terrible. They just kept breaking and I kept having issues with these, and these were so simple. I think I put them all together in like half a day. They were all done. Mine are removable. I just have Velcro on the ear muff bits, and that is for a very silly childish reason, and also a practical reason. I don't want these to break, so these are hard, so in transport these can break, but also I wanted to be able to wear them, so I can put them on like that. It looks silly, and I probably never will practically wear them, but I just kept thinking of that one episode where Hera is actually wearing her goggles, and it looks so funny. So but it is also nice being able to remove them and just have the leku without them for putting them on and off. And these have a clip, so I have the elastic on the leku, which can't be removed, and then this clip actually undoes. So this clip is not structural at all because it's not attached to the leku, it's completely separate. This is just for show, so this clip is literally just for looks. It doesn't actually help the structure of the leku. The leku stay on whether this is on or not, which I find really good because that means this is not weight bearing at all. This can just sit there and look cool. It doesn't actually have to do anything, which is going to protect like I've got stuff in the middle here. It means I'm not going to crack it in any places because it's not actually doing anything. So little tips. Moving on. My next component is the shirt. I made a couple of these shirts, kind of a trial and error. I actually based this shirt pattern off my work shirt, funnily enough. So, fun fact about me and Hera, what we both have in common is that we're both pilots. I work as a commercial pilot. I work domestically in New Zealand. So hence why Hera is one of my favourite characters. But yeah, my work shirt is actually very similar to this, which is quite funny. So the collar was based off my work shirt, and then just other details. It is actually made out of 2 different fabrics. So I've got a grey stretch and then a white stretch. What other things? Yeah, I made sure I got the seams correct. So I've got a seam here on the side and then a seam right down the middle. And it's just Velcro. I love Velcro. Super easy to put on and off. And yet again, I can do it with the sewing machine. So, yep, the sleeves. So this little grey component here, it finishes just above the elbow. Don't go too low. Initially I had it down too low. The pockets, not really functional. They're kind of tiny little pockets. I've seen other Heras do way better pockets, but mine's literally just a folded piece of fabric. The embroidered captain's insignia. I did this myself, but if you're better at embroidering, or I'm sure there are shops that can do commissions for you. And I mean, I'm not 100%, but I think Hyperspace Props might actually do embroidered embroidered patches as well. So yeah, that was what I did. And that's it for the shirt. One thing I would do different if I was to make this again is make it longer. Mine is quite short, which doesn't matter, the pants come over top of it, but it is quite short, so I feel like I'm constantly pulling it down, so I would like it to be longer, but yeah, that's just me. The next component. Now, initially, this wasn't in one bit. Initially, I had the pants separate from the kind of leather bodice bit, and the problem I was having is that it wasn't sitting right, and this leather bit was continually riding up, and I have a button in the middle that was constantly pulling down, and just everything was kind of, it looked all right, but it wasn't perfect. So I sewed it all together, hand sewed it, so that it sits perfect. So I suppose I'll start at the top. So I made this out of vinyl. It's mainly hand stitched because my sewing machine does not like vinyl. So a lot of time and effort has gone into this top leather bit, all hand stitched. I lowered the neckline so that sat properly. And yet again, guess how it fastens? It's Velcro. So the domes are all fake. They're not domes, it's Velcro. Yes, this kind of, I had no idea what this was initially. I was kind of looking up, I was like, what is the thing on Hera's left shoulder? I had no idea. Apparently it's another kind of captain's insignia or plaque or something. I still have no idea what it actually is, but it's there. And I made it out of Warbler. So thermoplastic, and it's been shaped into the correct shape. Some things that the Rebel Legion pulled up on my first set is the seam down the back. One single seam down the back. Don't do more than that. Don't have less than that. One single seam. Yeah, so that is the bodice bit. Yet again, Velcro at the side is how I fasten it. Now onto the pants. So the pants, mine are kind of like 3/4, and they are made out of a canvas. So I'll put a link in the description of where I got this canvas from. And that is an approvable fabric. That's what the costume judges told me to get. Initially, I did make the pants orange because I was like, well, X-Wing pilots have orange flight suits. So, duh, here is orange. And when you look at the Funko Pop and some other versions, she's orange. But then, and I thought, I want to be as accurate as possible. I want her to be orange. And I was like, very convinced that orange was the correct colour. I was then convinced otherwise because I put a photo of the yellow side by side with the animated Hera, and she's a dark yellow, very light orange. So I feel like orange still looks really good, and for those Heras that have orange pants, I absolutely love the orange pants. I think live action Hera is going to end up having orange, so joke's on us with yellow, but either or, yellow, dark yellow, light orange, who knows. But I really do like canvas. It's really easy to sew with. It's the perfect material for these pants. They're like overalls, which is exactly what you would have as a pilot. You know, if you're in the military or something, you would have a military jumpsuit made out of canvas. So it's a tough, durable fabric, which I love. It's so good. Some other little tips for this leather bit at the front of the pants. Make it out of the same fabric as the bodice. That will help you get approval. That's something that has to be done. These domes, 3. So 3 domes, they have to be the same colour as whatever fabric you're using. The kind of fly bit here, yet again, I don't know why she has this. This is completely silly, just like animated characters having stupid costumes. It's not functional whatsoever. It's just a bit of fabric that I sewed on for accuracy. So I don't know why Hera's got a weird stupid fly there. It makes no sense. The pockets I just made completely square on the side with a flap. The knee pads, my first knee pads I made, I did them ribbed because I thought, oh, that'll add extra cushion. If you're going for approval, don't rib your knee pads or you have to make them again. Hera's knee pads don't have ribbing on them, so just a flat knee pad sewn on, and then at the ends I've just got a bit of elastic. I just sewed it in there, and a little kind of tip, I've got little bra hooks on the inside of the pants on each side, and these actually hook on to my boots. The top of my boot has the other side, so this stops the pants from riding up. It kind of holds them down. So yeah, the strapping. So yet again, I'm going to have to put a link in the description because I can't remember the actual name of the strapping. But I just bought it from a local emporium, so just a clothing craft store. And then I actually couldn't find silver. I could only find white. So I painted it with acrylic paint. I suppose you could do it with spray paint as well, and just painted it silver. The adjustment boxes, these are not functional. They're completely for show online. And I made these out of Wobbler because I couldn't find anything that was the right size or the right shape, so I just made my own. And yeah, just hot glued them on to the strapping tape on the side, and yeah, all fastened with Velcro. Finishing touches, I did some weathering. You probably can't see with the camera, but it does have dirt. I kind of just got shoe polish and rubbed it everywhere. It was really fun, but you know, like on the sides here, I probably should do some more, I think, to make them look more dirty. Just because Star Wars is dirty and they just look far too clean. And you know, being a pilot myself, I know you get oil, you get fuel on yourself, you're constantly messing around with engines. So I figured Hera, especially with an old ship like the Ghost, she would have oil and dirt all over her. So she's not a, you know, a pristine, clean kind of girl. She's the kind of pilot that would be out there looking at the engine and looking after her aircraft. So she's going to be covered in dirt. So I feel like I'm going to do some more on that. The boots. Brown boots is quite difficult to find. I just my first set of boots were a little bit too small, and I just got them from a second-hand store. But then I ended up buying these from another member of the Rebel Legion here in New Zealand, who was using them for a Jedi, and I was like, oh, if you're selling them, I'll have them. And yeah, so the components, she has these kind of armor on top, so I've made it out of Sintra, and then I just hot glued it on. They're constantly falling off, so I probably need to hot glue them on again. If anyone's got a better way, maybe Velcro, I don't know, a better way to stick them on. And then I've got the holster, which I've made out of foam. And then I've got the vinyl, the same vinyl I used for the bodice, I've used on the outside of this and hot glued on. And I did make this holster with the blaster. So the Blurg, I forget what the number is, but the Blurg blaster. This is a 3D printed one I ordered offline. And it fits in the boot holster, hopefully, with a little bit of help. Yes, that's the boot the gun blaster in its holster. Final piece, the gloves. I bought these are horse riding gloves actually, because I wanted a nice leather glove that was kind of thin, and I was able to do stuff with. So yeah, they're from a horse riding website. Yet again, I think Hyperspace props do 3D printed buttons. I just got 3 random buttons that are different sizes, and sewed them on around the brim, and that was approvable. So I feel like if you wanted to go super accurate, you could get the 3D printed buttons, but never mind. Yeah, so those are the gloves. Love them. I think that is it for all my components, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. What I usually do first before I get dressed is I do my makeup. I'm not going to do a makeup tutorial for this Hera. There are hundreds online, and those Heras are so much better than me. But I suppose just a basic of what I do. I always wash my face and prime beforehand. I found that doing that kind of an hour before helps, because you want that to all dry. If you're applying water-based face paint to a wet face, it doesn't like it. So I try and do like wash my face and prime it kind of before I go to whatever event I'm going to, and then do the face painting a little bit later. So that's a tip I've learnt. Contouring, I do it with a powder, so the water-based face paint goes on really well, and I find that if I'm trying to do a darker water-based face paint, it just ruins it and I have problems. So I just use a dark kind of powder. I have an eyeshadow palette that's all different colours of green, so that really helps. And I've got like light greens, like shiny sparkly ones for like highlighter and everything, and darker ones that I can use for contouring. So yeah, that's my makeup. So I'm gonna get dressed and do the makeup, and I will touch base when that is done. Alright, my makeup is finished. I just do a water-based face paint. So like I said, this is not a full tutorial. This is just showing you what I do. So I use a face paint. It's called lime green. And I think a lot of people struggle with matching the face paint to the liku. It depends on what you've got first. I was quite lucky in that I got the face paint first, and then made the liku second. So my liku actually matched the face paint. If you're doing it the other way around, you might have to blend some different colours. So maybe add some yellow face paint in to make it lighter, or some darker green to make it darker. Just make sure you match your liku, because there's nothing worse than having a bright green face and then like a dark green liku. You can really tell the difference when they're put next to each other. So try and match the face paint to your liku. I just use a little wedge sponge to put it on, and then once it's dry I use a setting spray. So this is just the water-based face paint. So I set the water-based face paint so that way I can put stuff over top of it and it's not gonna move or change. So yes, then I start doing the contouring. So it's a little bit harsh, but I'm an animated character, so I normally wouldn't do my contouring makeup this harsh, but I feel like because she's animated, she's allowed to be a little bit extra. The blush, I actually use my normal blush. It's kind of a nice peachy colour, which I think sits really nicely on the green. And then I have it's a NYX water palette, and they just have the most amazing greens. You can see them all the greens and browns and like any colour you could ever hope for. So for contouring I use that one up the very top, the dark green, and then I've got the kind of bright shiny greens for the highlight, darker greens, sparkly greens for the eyeshadow and stuff. So I just play with whatever I feel like works on the day. I don't really have a set colour that I use, and yeah, I just put lots of sparkles in the corner because I have hooded eyes. And then black liquid eyeliner. I actually have a green pencil eyeliner that I put in the waterline, which really helps. I don't use fake lashes, but I feel like you could if you wanted to get that bigger animated eye look. And then with the lip colour, I have a matching lip liner pencil that I use around the outside, and I just go with like a soft pink. I don't want it too light or too dark, just kind of to match the blush, I guess. And that is my makeup. Yeah, I'm gonna go get dressed now. Alright, so here I am dressed. I'm going to show you what I do with my hair because I get a lot of questions. I have a lot of red hair, and I've tried a couple things, and just kind of a compromise between what is comfortable and what works the best in terms of keeping the leku on. So unfortunately I've gone with something that's not entirely comfortable. So I put my hair in a very high bun and I have a swim cap. The swim cap is not comfortable to wear for long periods of time, but it sure does help the leku stay in place. I feel like the latex just really grips to this swim cap. It also helps keep all the hair in. Your ears will hurt at the end of the day. Probably helps to take the earrings out. But yes, it's a price I pay. Really good wig cap would probably do the same thing, but I feel like this works quite well. I can't hear very well. It's quite funny because when I'm trooping with the stormtroopers can't see very well, and I can't hear. So together we have all of the senses. But I put the swim cap on, and this is the bit where it all comes together. So I kind of put the chin strap on first, and then it's just a matter of getting this to sit right. But it's a little bit finicky, but most of the time it works. There we go. Make sure I put it down at the back. I've had quite a few hearers also ask about how to hide hair, and just do your best. I'm not the kind of person that's going to shave my head just so I don't have little bits of hair at the back. I'm always going to have little bits of hair at the back. I do my best to hide it under my collar. Sometimes I will use hair gel to whisk them back, lots of hairspray. Just, yeah, do your best. At the end of the day, everyone knows you're not actually a Twi'lek. It's okay if there's a couple of stray hairs. That's not the end of the world. Anyway, these, they can go on, but I won't. I'll put them on properly. And then try and do the clip up. Am I doing it right? Always seems to be the hardest bit. Oh, there we go. Very good. And finally, gloves. So, that's me all ready. So, here we go. I feel like it always looks better in natural light. I don't know why. I just feel like if I come into the lounge where there's lots of windows, the face paint matches the leku a lot better. But yeah, this is the full thing. I'll step back and do a wee twirl. So that is me there. And I just absolutely love this costume. It's the one I'm most comfortable in. It's my go-to. I could spend hours in this costume quite happily. And yeah, I just love being Hera. I always feel so badass when I'm dressed like this. So happy cosplaying, and we'll see you guys all later. Bye.